everyone, welcome back to my channel. As always, I hope you're having a lovely day. You join me on what is a really miserable and dreary autumn afternoon. It is raining out, it is cold. The rain has not let up all day. I've got all the lights I own out in this room, so it's actually got a little bit of brightness to it. It feels like ages since I recorded in this spot, but all the lights out so we can actually film a video. So here we go. Today I want to talk to you about selling your decluttered clothes online, how I've done it, my experience with it. It's been a really simple and straightforward process. It has managed to generate a little bit of money for me, and I just want to talk about the advantages of doing it really and give you some top tips if you're looking to sell your own clothes online for whatever reason that may be. So the first reason I wanted to sell my decluttered clothes, if you have seen my wardrobe declutter video where I decluttered over 150 items, that was a lot of stuff to try and find a new home for, and so I made the decision that I thought I would have a go at selling some of my clothes online. I did donate some items. There were key pieces that I picked out, such as my prom dress or a few designer pieces, things that I thought charity shops might actually be able to get a little bit of money for, but then there were some items which I decided I would just sell. Selling your used clothes can be a really good way to hand them over to their next owner, because not always do donation stores, secondhand stores, charity shops need donations, and if they do have too many or it's not the type of item that they are looking for to sell in their shop, you don't really know what's going to happen to it, and it might end up in landfill. If it's not of a particular quality, then they might not be able to pass it on to their next owner. And I really must stress this, that secondhand stores, charity shops and whatnot are not a place for you to offload all your rubbish. So if you've got a shirt that's got a bit of a stain down it and so you can't get it out and you're not going to wear it, please don't send that on to a secondhand store to try and deal with. Deal with that item yourself and find another way maybe to repurpose the material, maybe as rags or something like that. We should really only be sending on to secondhand stores good quality items that they're going to be able to sell to raise money for their cause. Also, in lockdown, all of our charity shops in the UK have been closed and many of them still haven't reopened, so even donating won't be an option, and when they do reopen, I imagine they are going to have a surplus of items, because I imagine loads of people have taken lockdown as a good opportunity to have a good declutter, a bit of a spring clean, because they've had the time to do so, and I imagine there are a lot of people ready to make a lot of donations, so the secondhand stores may not even be able to take on your donations right away. So selling is a brilliant way to do it. However, before you go into selling your clothes online, I really must stress that you basically have a bit of a responsibility to the community of people that do shop secondhand for their clothing, and that is that you are respecting them buying from you and buying secondhand, and that you encourage them to continue shopping secondhand and using online platforms to do so. What I mean by that is, do not give anyone a bad experience if they buy something from you, because then you might put them off shopping secondhand and choosing the more sustainable shopping option, and they might go back to buying brand new or buying fast fashion or however it is. So you do have a responsibility when selling online. It is far more and far bigger than just us making a little bit of money. So really do consider it. If you're going to shop online, please do it responsibly so that the ball keeps rolling, people continue to shop online and secondhand. So your first job, step one if you like, is to decide what platform you're going to sell on. I chose eBay because I know how it works, I'm familiar with it, I find it really easy to work and the way it works with PayPal and all of that. I know there are other services out there like Depop, and there might be sort of small, more local services to you that you can use, but I was happy to use eBay. I know there are fees involved, but for me, it wasn't about making a lot of money. It was like when I did my car boot sale. I was more conscious about having my items move on to their next home. I didn't price any of my items particularly high. It wasn't about me making a lot of money for me. That was sort of just an added bonus to the whole process. So I was okay with there being fees, and I just took that as part of the process. The next thing you're going to do is take photos. Now, your photos are really important, and the taking photos and uploading part is the most time consuming element of it. So I always took photos in the same place, so all the images seemed fairly uniform and not just sort of hung up on the wardrobe door. I put them on a rail, made it look not beautiful but just aesthetically pleasing, and I would take photos in sort of chunks. So I never took a photo of just one item at a time. I waited until I had a few to do. In the case of after my wardrobe declutter, I had loads to do, but then ever since then, if I knew I had items I wanted to upload to sell, I would wait until I had at least 10, because I've got to get the rail out, get my camera out. If it's bad lighting on that day, I would use my lights. That's not an essential. You can just take photos with your phone. I would just say make sure it's a bright sunny day so you get good lighting on your photos. Another thing I will mention is do be honest. I was taking photos from the front, from the back. If it was new with a tag on, I made sure I took a photo of the tag on the garment so that they could see it. And this might sound a bit strange if you're looking to make a sale, but highlight any imperfections or flaws in the item. So I had a sweatshirt, for example, and it had a small makeup mark that hadn't come out in the wash, just on the inside collar. You couldn't see it from the outside, but I did make sure to take a photo of it and just include it in the listing, because you don't want people to feel like they've been tricked or that they've been ripped off. If they're buying from you, they want to know exactly what you're getting. And even if it's only cheap, for me, most of my items I sold for £1, £2, £3. There wasn't very many that were more than that. And so even if it is a really low cost, a person still deserves to know what they're getting. So if there was a mark on there, I made sure I pointed that out just so that they can know if they want to buy that, they'll be comfortable knowing there is a small mark in it. Don't try to trick someone. As I've said before, give them a positive experience. We don't want people thinking that they can't trust the sellers who are selling on secondhand platforms, and that if they continue to buy from people like that, then they're going to have a bad experience and feel ripped off. We want those people to continue shopping secondhand, and we want those people to keep coming back to secondhand purchases rather than going out and buying new. The next step is to list your items, and as I've already said, this can be quite time consuming, so it's a good idea to wait until you've got a few items to upload all at the same time. Be as detailed as you can at this point. That includes anything like small imperfections on the garment, or if you think the sizing runs slightly different to what the item actually is. Make sure the person buying it knows what they're getting so they don't get a disappointment when it arrives in the post. So for example, I had a sweatshirt that had a label of a size 14 here in the UK, whereas I generally wear somewhere between size 10 and 12. So I put in the description that it was a UK size 14, however I personally think it did run a bit small and it would suit someone size 10 to 12 in the UK. So just so the buyer can sort of see my opinion on it, knowing that I have worn the item and this is what I think. And then it's up to them whether they decide to continue with the purchase or not, but at least then they're not going to have any nasty surprises when the item arrives at their house. And then you can just wait. So eBay's really good for this because you get 1,000 free listings when you've either sold so many items or you've been on eBay for so long. I'm not sure what the criteria is, but I wasn't doing it for very long when they made that my amount I was allowed to upload, and they are free listings and you can just have them to recur every month if the item doesn't sell, so you don't get charged a fee unless you actually sell the item, which I think is really good. So then you just leave them sitting in the background, and every now and then you get an email ping through saying you've sold something. So then you have to go ahead and package that up. And again, this is another area where you've got a responsibility. Package the items well so that they get to your customer in a good condition. That's another thing we've got to be careful of, because again, we want to encourage people as much as we can to continue shopping secondhand. So it's all part of the responsibility. Just make sure you do it well and you don't leave a customer feeling sort of disheartened about the whole process. And then you just have to post it, which for me, being in the UK, I have found this just a brilliant method for clothing, because eBay and PayPal all sort of come together and you can buy your postage online, so you don't even have to go to the post office. And if it's a small enough item, which most of mine have been, with it being clothes and accessories, you can just pop that straight into the post box. So most of the time, I don't even have to go to the post office itself, which is really good, because when you live in a small sort of country-ish village, in the UK, the times post offices are open are usually after I've already started work and it closes before I get home. So actually getting to the post office is nearly impossible for me most of the time. So it's really handy that I can just pop it straight into a post box. There have been 1 or 2 items like thicker jumpers and sweatshirts where they've not been able to fit into a post box, so I've had to find time to get to the post office where I can, usually at the weekend. But most of the time posting the items has been really easy, and I think I've sold nearly 60 items and I've not had any problems, so that's been really good. And that is pretty much it. That is the selling process, from decluttering your items to selling them online. As I said, it's really important that we do this responsibly to encourage people to come back and to continue shopping secondhand. But there is also the bonus for you personally, that if you do a good job, hopefully someone will leave you a positive review, and that will attract more customers to your other items that you are selling. So always try to do a good job and never try to trick a customer into buying something that's not of the quality or the description that you say it is. Where possible, I always try to leave return feedback. So if someone has left me feedback and they have been honest about the transaction, because I always try to do a good job, so I always expect my feedback to be positive. So if they've been fair, then I will always leave them feedback in return saying that, you know, it was a nice smooth sale and there was no problems and that they were a good customer. And that's just a good way to build a reputation with your customers. If you plan on using your account again to sell when you do another declutter, then it might be a good idea. And I have had the same people come back to my page and purchase from me again after they've had a positive experience with me. You see the same names coming back. So I do think it is worthwhile just spending that little bit of time and giving that positive feedback back to them. And then of course there is the financial side of things. As I've said, it's not necessarily for me very important. I want to make sure my items go on to another home so that they're not ending up in landfill or anything dodgy like that. But having a little bit of money coming in from selling them, and for honestly not putting in too much effort, is just an added bonus. And I think a lot of people might enjoy a little bit of extra cash on the side. Maybe you're saving up for something you want to buy, or a trip, or maybe you just want some money in your savings, or you want to invest. It's just a nice way to have a little bit of extra money. And again, just like when I did my car boot video, it's not a huge amount of money, it's just a little bit extra on the side. But the way I look at it, it's extra money from items that were just lying around my house that weren't getting any use. So the amount of money I have made so far from selling my used clothes online is £213.67. And that's pretty much it. That has been my experience selling clothes online and my tips for you if you are going to go ahead and give this a go yourself. It's been really easy, very straightforward, and an enjoyable process. So all in all, I'm really happy. That's all for this video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please do give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. It really supports me and I do really appreciate it. Drop me a comment if you enjoyed this video and I will try to reply to them. I do try to reply to them all, and I'll leave my Instagram information in the end screen. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.